Hey, what is up everyone? Welcome back to Live from the Wrist. Hope you're doing well. Today we're going to be taking a look at this Tudor from 1984. It's a Tudor Prince Oysterdate reference 74000. There are some watches that one will never get tired of. With the variety of watches with different designs, appearances, and feelings on the wrist, collectors can sometimes move so quickly from one watch to another that they fall in love with very, very easily. Oftentimes, the best watches are those that are classics because as a collector, you will always come back to it, and it's what I believe the Tudor Prince Oysterdate reference 74000 is. In creating this watch, Tudor took groundbreaking technology and combined it to create the perfect everyday watch. For those of you who do not know, Tudor first appeared on the dials of watches in 1932 after Rolex registered the name in 1926. These watches were a test for the market, and Montres Tudor SA was officially launched in 1946 after positive feedback from the market. In launching this company, Tudor began producing extremely beautiful watches that caught the attention of the market. Tudor utilized many technologies first created by Rolex, namely one of the features that you see in this watch, which is the Oyster case, which is a method of creating a waterproof watch case, and they also utilized a perpetual automatic movement that allowed the movement of one's wrist to power the watch. These technologies culminated in many famous watches being launched by Tudor, like the Tudor Submariners. In 1952, Tudor launched the Oyster Prince, which was when they first launched their automatic winding oyster-cased watches. One of the greatest things about this line of watches is the fact that it's evolved into an incredibly wide range of watches, all with the same basic DNA. Many versions were launched with no date and can be found in such incredible versions like with black dials, with beautiful honeycomb dials, and even these large luminescent hour markers that are in a very attractive font. Tudor later introduced the Oysterdate, which was where they included a date complication at 3 o'clock, which was very similar to Rolex's Datejust models. The Oysterdate came in many different versions with different dial signatures in different dial colors as well as patterns. The watch you see today is a Tudor Prince Oysterdate reference 74000. This watch was manufactured in 1984 based on the serial number that is found between the lugs of this watch. It has a 34mm stainless steel case that is in overall good condition with signs of wear and polishing, which is expected from the over 40 years of life that this watch has had. What's great about this specific reference is its simplicity. It has a fairly simple bezel, which is steel and has a smooth pattern to it. Many Oysterdate models will come with designs on their bezels, one of them being a very classic gold fluted bezel that is very attractive to many collectors as it provides a much more dressy feel for the watch. In my mind, the smooth bezel is quiet. It doesn't shout at the wearer or those admiring the watch on someone's wrist, and has its own, I think, benefits when you think about having this watch be an everyday piece. As you can see, the lugs are sharp, but show signs of wear and polishing similar to the case. I think another great feature is the fact that if you look at the lugs, you can see that there are holes where the strap spring bars are located. It makes this watch extremely versatile because one can switch out the straps or add a bracelet to this watch. So it doesn't have this one simple look to it that you'll have to deal with for the rest of your life. You could even switch out straps every day or every week if that's your preference. Being a watch with a smooth bezel and steel case, I think the straps can also add a level of personalization to the watch in case the understated nature of this watch is too quiet for the wearer. The dial of this watch mimics a lot of the characteristics that I've kind of described about the case of this watch. It has this white sunburst pattern that has aged nicely since the mid-80s. If you take a loop and look at it under a loop, what you'll find is just a extremely slight darkness of the white dial that has kind of developed, and you can kind of see it in specific lights. I'm trying to get as clear a shot for you as possible, but you can kind of see a little dark hue to the white dial. You'll also be able to see, and you can probably see it in this video, some of aging on the hours and minutes hand, as well as the Tudor logo and the lume plots that are located at each hour marker, and there is a little bit of aging on the applied hour markers themselves. I think this is where the personality of this watch can really come out. You can see, for example, this lume plot over here at 10 o'clock is quite light, but then if you look at 11 o'clock, it is a little bit darker. The watch is running on a Tudor modified ETA caliber 2824 automatic winding movement. This movement was originally launched in 1972 and is heavily used in Tudor watches of this era and throughout its history. In 1982, the caliber was upgraded to the 2824-2, which is the one that you'll find in this watch, which is a 11.5 line movement that has 38 hours of power reserve and beats at 28,800 vibrations per hour. Now, one could look at this watch and not really get a big reaction from their brain or heart about whether this watch is something that is attractive to them. Sure, the watch is 34 millimeters. It's steel with what can be described as a pretty plain steel case, a very simple smooth bezel, and white uninteresting dial. But I'd urge this person to look a little deeper and also to experience the watch on the wrist for a few months, or even just for a couple of hours. The way this watch feels on the wrist is actually unmatched, and I think the versatility of a blank canvas like this watch is something that shouldn't be understated when considering the vast variety of vintage Tudor Oysterdates that are out there. Further, a slight aging on the dial, I think, is where this watch, it gives this watch a little bit of a warm feeling, both under the loop but also in the hand. What I think is really attractive about the watch is this watch you can really make your own. I think the dial will only continue to age on the adventures one takes it on, and so you can imagine this sort of continuing to show its characteristics. Maybe you'll be sitting on a beach somewhere, or maybe stopping off at a coffee shop on a ski trip, and what will be nice is I think the sun will continue to sort of toast this dial, and so you can only imagine it would get a little bit of more personality every single time you wear it. You can even bring along a bunch of different straps for this watch and switch it out for different occasions. I personally would love to source something like a vintage beads of rice bracelet that I think would look excellent on this watch, and I think, not to be too cheesy, but I think this watch really is your oyster when it comes to personalizing it, whether it's the straps that you combine it with or bracelets, and it allows you to really experiment and show your personality come out. As I mentioned, it's 34 millimeters in diameter. I can show you what it looks like on my wrist here. If it will focus again, there you go. So 34 millimeters in diameter, you can see it on my wrist. 34 millimeters is a pretty good sweet spot for me, if I'm honest. I like 34 millimeters the way it sits on the wrist. Not super thick, really is a perfect everyday piece. It's got a complication that you would probably find useful as well, which I think is useful, especially considering that I think the date is really the most useful modern complication out there. The history of Tudor is not complete if one does not talk about the impact of oyster models. It has made way for so many incredible watches from the brand and is an interesting niche within collecting that can provide a ton of enjoyment. Whether it's a steel smooth bezel 74000 like the watch you see in front of you, or a no-date Tudor Oyster with a black honeycomb dial, the collecting of vintage Tudors can bring a smile to any collector's face. I hope you enjoyed taking a look at this reference 74000, manufactured by Tudor in 1984. I think it's a really interesting part of Tudor collecting. I found that over the last several months, this specific reference has become extremely popular with collectors. I've had a ton of individuals reach out to me about trying to source one of these pieces. I think there is something to be said about a blank canvas that this watch really is. It's a white dial, it's a smooth bezel, it's nothing super loud. It's not, you don't have a fluted bezel with a linen dial where you really have the personality of the watch sort of pushed onto you as a wearer. This really allows you to do something a little bit different. I put this blue strap on it, which I think looks really nice. I'm a huge fan of blue, but I do think blue and sort of this stainless steel white dial can also look quite nice. Also, if you wear this outside, there is a really nice sort of darker tone that this dial ends up having. So a really cool piece, and I think a nice part of the history of Tudor, as I mentioned throughout this video. As always, there will be an article on lifeonthewrist.com. If you want to read more about this piece, you can head over to the first link in the description. It will be the link to the article that we wrote about this specific watch. Let me know in the comment section below what you think about this watch. My question for today is, do you prefer the blank canvas of a 74000, or do you like a fluted bezel with a linen dial like a 75203 from Tudor? Tell me which one you prefer in the comment section below. If you are new to Life on the Wrist, be sure to subscribe to the channel and share this video with a friend who might be interested in watches. It really does help me out by growing this channel and getting more people interested in the vintage watches that we cover on our YouTube channel. There'll be links to all of our social medias as well as our website in the description of this video, so be sure to check that out as well if you want to hear more about watches from Life on the Wrist. With that said, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. If you wouldn't mind liking it, it really does help me out, helps the channel grow and get pushed to more people who are interested in watches. With that said, thank you so much for watching this video, and until next time.